Hello everyone, welcome back to our new YouTube channel, The Analytics. Hope you all are good. And today we will be discussing about Prashant Kishore, PK, the one who does not need any introduction for all keeping an eye on Indian politics. But for the sake of them who are not much involved in this, I will give a brief introduction about him in my upcoming slides, and subsequently I will be discussing that how has he contributed in the elections yet and what is he striving for in the upcoming 2024 Lok Sabha election. Okay, so before I get into detail, I request you to please like the video, give your valuable comments, share the video and subscribe to our channel. So now let us go for a background of Prashant Kishore, means the non-political introduction of PK. And Prashant Kishore was born on 20th March 1977 and he belongs to Rohtas district in Bihar. But later on, his father, who is a doctor by profession, shifted to Buxar district in Bihar. He completed his primary education at government school there only, and later on he completed his higher studies from Hindu College, a renowned name in Delhi University. Please note that he has many years gap in his studies too. After completing his studies, he was looking for a job, and fortunately he got to work for polio program run by United Nations in Bihar. And in the late 1990s, there were no volunteers in Bihar for the same. So because there were no volunteers, he worked for that program in Bihar and worked really well. Based on his working in Bihar, he was called to India office and he worked there for almost 2 years, and after that he was sent to America, where he worked for India at United Nations. He had a brilliant mind and he was too good at strategy making, so he was further sent to Africa, where he contributed in a number of programs run by United Nations. Apart from that, he also used to write speeches for diplomats. So overall, he worked for around 8 years at United Nations. So now we are going ahead for PK as political strategist. Okay, so while he was working for United Nations, he wrote an article on malnutrition comparing 4 Indian states, and one of them was Gujarat. That drew attention of the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Mr. Narendra Modi, and he started working for him thereafter leaving United Nations. And because of his expertise in making strategies, writing speeches, proficient leadership skills, he started working as political strategist in the favor of Narendra Modi for 2012 Gujarat Legislative Assembly election and helped Modi in forming government. And that was his very first campaign for the political party, and he didn't look back after that. Again, in the year 2013, PK created CAG, that stands for Citizens for Accountable Governance, a media and publicity company in preparation for the May 2014 Lok Sabha elections in India. And PK was credited with formulating an innovative marketing and advertising campaign for Narendra Modi. He was one of the most important people in Modi's team, driving strategies for months before 2014 elections. And BJP won that Lok Sabha election in 2014 with vast majority. But few months later, PK parted ways with Modi, converted CAG into IPAC, that stands for Indian Political Action Committee. So these two elections, 2012 Gujarat Legislative Assembly elections and 2014 Lok Sabha election, had seen the legacy of Prashant Kishore. And after that, PK's IPAC contributed and helped the different political parties to win elections and form governments. And those are 2012 Gujarat Legislative Assembly election, 2014 Lok Sabha election, 2015 Bihar Legislative Assembly election, 2017 Punjab election, 2019 Andhra Pradesh, 2019 Maharashtra, 2020 Delhi, 2021 West Bengal and 2021 Tamil Nadu as well. And he worked for a number of regional okay. And apart from all the above elections that I told you, starting from 2012 Gujarat to Tamil Nadu and West Bengal Legislative Assembly elections in 2021, where he helped in forming governments, there has been only one election where he lost, and that was 2017 UP Legislative Assembly election. But based on his single loss, no one can take the involvement of PK in Indian politics lightly. He is the one who has always been delivering more than what has been expected from his end. So now we can see that what is in the background that is making or forcing PK to be against that Modi government, as we can see that PK's dissent with Modi government here. So here is the video that you can go for.
See what they have changed. I have said this about in the context of Bengal election, that if BJP were to win, we are looking at a prospect of one nation, one party. Why do I say so? It's important for all of us to understand it's not that this is the government with the biggest majority we have ever seen. We have seen governments with bigger majority than this one. We have also seen parties ruling India for far longer time than what they have been. They have been ruling 7 years. We have seen governments ruling 10, 15 years. Why we are saying that this is different is because of the reason that beyond your voting preference, here is a government, they want to have complete dominance on the psychological mind space of people beyond voting. So they don't want only your vote, they also want to interfere into what you wear, what you eat, who do you are friends with, what your faith is. That bothers people. So they are, as a political party, they have right to seek your vote, but then they are not stopping there. They are trying to dominate the mind space, have that complete psychological control over your mind space, and want to have a say in everything else beyond vote as well. Similarly, as a party, they are well within their right to say that we want to win India. But never before in this country, a ruling party has given a war cry that I want to wipe off opposition. They don't want to win India only, they want to wipe off opposition. That scares, that's problematic. So you seek vote is acceptable, but to have the complete control over the mind space of people about things which are beyond vote is problematic. You want to win is fine, but you want to wipe off opposition is problematic. You want to propagate your achievement is fine, but then you are saying that nothing in 70 years has happened before we came. So much so that they are even including the 10 years of their own government, that nothing happened in this country. I can go on giving many such examples why people find this government a bit more scary, or why they are fearful, or why we are saying that we are going down on this democratic principles and the values. Because of these reasons, you have to make the distinction. People are not worried because they voted for them and they are in majority. People are worried when they come and they say you cannot wear these jeans, you cannot be friends with Muslim, you cannot eat this, you cannot drink. That is what creates the fear. People are not worried because they have won. Many parties have won in the past and they have won bigger than this party. But they are saying no, wipe off opposition completely. That is the problem. And hence, make no mistake, in the context, in this backdrop, if they win Bengal, we would have made a decisive step in the direction of one nation, one party.
So I hope that you would have got a gist of his opinion on Modi government through that video. Now moving ahead to our next slide, that is the main part of our entire presentation. Okay, that was the background of Prashant Kishore, what he did and what are his expectations, what is his decision with the ongoing Modi government. Now let us look at the PK's expected vision for 2024 Lok Sabha election. That is away, but still political parties are now accumulating in order to give a very strong opposition to BJP-led NDA. So at the very beginning, please let me share what PK has quoted a little back. As per his views, third front is a futile exercise. He has said that he does not believe a third or fourth front can challenge BJP, as history has shown such fronts don't have that capacity. So decoding him, what he commented, as per PK, no opposition front without the Congress can be effective against the Modi-led BJP government. In the context of our Lok Sabha elections, third front can be called the group of political parties which are neither in UPA nor in NDA. We all know that BJP is the major leading political party in NDA alliance and INC, Indian National Congress, is the major in UPA. So in order to stay away from forming any third front, making UPA led by Congress very strong and weakening NDA led by BJP seems to be the only option left. So UPA can turn very stronger if those regional parties like BJD, like RJD, like Samajwadi Party and many other parties which are neither in UPA nor in NDA comes forward and be a part of UPA, and parties which are not in NDA presently joins UPA, and parties which are still in UPA continue to be its part. If even the first scenario and any of the other two later scenarios go good, such opposition will have the capacity upbringings. So now moving ahead, that what are the challenges that will be faced by PK for that. So now in order to come out to unite all the potential opposition, be it said or unsaid opposition parties, and go for 2024 Lok Sabha election, the first step appears to have been already taken. Okay. PK started grounding his ideas by holding multiple meetings with NCP head Sharad Pawar last month. And Sharad Pawar is a national level leader who has strong political relations and good terms with a number of political parties all over India. Sharad Pawar could be a magnet to bring different political parties together. And after meeting Prashant Kishore, Sharad Pawar also held a meeting of political leaders and eminent persons from different walks of life and called for the need of an alternate vision in the country. But if we consider that third front does not have that capacity, then the question arises that where does Congress, an underperformer but still the only truly national party in its ranks, fit into the scheme of these things? Now, as we know that Congress itself is still major party in states like Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, MP, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab and Goa, etc. But still challenges are being faced by Congress. Realization is also dawning on the Congress that it cannot ignore regional forces which did a good job of trampling the BJP in states, be it the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi or TMC in West Bengal or JMM in Jharkhand, etc. The Congress also owes to regional parties like DMK in Tamil Nadu and RJD in Bihar for its existence. And on the other hand, regional parties are also aware that without an anchor, opposition unity will be short-lived affair in pre and post-poll scenarios as well. Now, after having a rethink on compromise by the Congress, and even if the Congress agrees, if we put on the negotiation table, the challenges are not over. The challenges to put all the parties apart from Congress on the negotiation table and to make them also agree remain yet to be overcome. And such tasks can only be achieved by making a common minimum agenda. Parties in states like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, Kerala and few northeastern states can also be major chunks for a very strong opposition to BJP-led NDA, because in these states neither BJP nor Congress are the major political parties. And so PK's meeting with the leaders of different national and regional parties hints at a major plan in the works to come up with an opposition bloc. Still grounding them into reality is a big challenge, and that is why PK has moved on such early in the year 2021 to tackle BJP-led NDA in Lok Sabha elections to be held in the year 2024. So viewers, that was in brief about PK's move for 2024 Lok Sabha elections, and I really wanted to take more time on emphasizing the ways to bring regional parties together, but the time is not allowing me to go into that detail. The video would have turned way more longer. Okay, so if you like the video and want me to emphasize in detail that not very much explored part, let me know in comment. I will bring and upload one separate video for the same. So as we discussed about PK's legacy in Indian politics and in contrast with 2024 Lok Sabha elections also, I hope that you would have found it useful, and if yes, please like and share the video, subscribe to the channel. That will keep us motivated in bringing our videos on such topics that require public attention.